First of all, we have to import all the necessary libraries, import pandas as PD, import numpy as NP. So pandas is basically for your data frames, right? For analyzing data frames. Since we typically have data in a two-dimensional format, maybe in the form of an Excel sheet, maybe in the form of a CSV file, we read in this data, right, in Python, and pandas basically help us do that. And NumPy will basically use for analyzing data, right, on a very minimalistic level, like finding out the mean, median, and mode, handling matrices as well. So once we import the libraries, um, let's read the data set first. So today's data set I have taken from StatsGuru. So StatsGuru is an online platform where they have all these data sets stored, right? And these data sets are there pertaining to different formats of cricket, like ODI data, you have test data, you have IPL and T20 as well. So today I've taken ODI data for our comparison, right? So now, once we read the data, my data is in a default directory as the code. So you have to put the extension of the file name as well. So once we read the data, I can see here that we have 28 columns, but we are not able to see 28 columns, right? We have all these dotted points. So we will not be able to view all the columns. So for that, we need to do something, and that pandas will help us do that. So pd.set underscore option is a particular function inside pandas, which basically helps us, display, all the rows and columns on my data set. So if I do display dot max underscore columns, let's see. And if there's a second argument. So now you can see, I can check all the column names. I can view all the column names. So this bar which has come at the bottom, which I can scroll through, is because of this. Okay, you can go to the documentary and read about it. Set underscore option. See how to display the extent, how to display to see more of the columns, right? So once we get this, now let's try to understand what are the information being given to us. Okay, we have innings players, we have runs scored, innings batted flag, innings not out flag, whether the person has played the match or not, because it may happen the person might not be able to play every match, which means that the row level information, the observational level information which we have is at the level of tournaments or matches, individual matches, right? So you can see this guy has played against India in the port of Spain. West Indies versus India. So West Indies is the country where this particular player Lewis belongs to, and he has played against India in this particular match of Port of Spain on 11th of August 2019. Right. So whether he has scored a 50 or not, or 100 or not, right? What was the bucket of the score where he scored in? If he is not a bowler, then these parameters will not be available. How many balls he has bowled, how many runs he has conceded, all these things will not be there because he's a batsman, right? So which makes sense. Empty cell values in Excel sheets get read as NaN values in Python. So all these Excel sheets which you see are actually NaN values. So let me just quickly show it to you. Right. So once you see here, you can see that some of these areas are missing values, right? It won't be missing for everyone. It's because this is a batsman, so we don't have this information. As simple as that. And we don't need this information for a batsman. If you are trying to analyze a batsman, we don't need this information at all. So these are empty cell values. And empty cell values will be there in Python as NaN values. That is something which we know, right? Okay. So now what you're going to do is we are going to check the shape. What does shape give me? Shape gives me basically the number of observations. These are number of observations which is there in the data set, number of rows, and these are the number of columns which we are looking into. Now so I'm going to compare Ganguly and Dhoni. Two of them are profoundly batsmen, and we are going to need information like how many runs he has scored. So let's just look at which column will give me that information. So Let's scroll to the left. So innings run scored num, and this is innings run scored. So if I make this 10, it will show me the first 10 observations of the data set, right? Okay. So all right, there are two columns here. Both of them seems to have the same value, but you can see here, this is 13 star. Okay, this is 13 star. The star has been removed from here. So if I want to make any analysis on these numbers of runs, I cannot have that star. It will create problems for me. The star cannot be interpreted by any mathematical operation, right? So I'll take this column, which will be helpful for me, right? Innings run scored num. So let's say df of how to select the column. I can simply select the column from the data frame like this. Very simple. And once I do this, so you can see here there are some missing values here, right? So if I do dot unique, just to check the unique scores which he has made, it will be dot, by the way. So you can see here there's some NaN values, there's some dashes here. Probably he has not played that match, or probably is not batted in that match, right? So we don't need these values. These values will create problem for us. So why don't we filter it right away, right? So what I'll do here, very simple. Now I'll be doing conditional based slicing. So I'll filter out data. So what I'll do, df of this particular column name, okay, not equal to, I'll do dash. Okay, if I do this, I'll get a set of true and false values. So you can see true, which means that it does not have that. Okay, so what I'll do is to select those observations out, I have to do this. So this is the data frame which I require, because rest everything else I don't need. So what I'll do, df equal to df of innings run scored num not equal to dash. So now my data frame will not have any dash signs. If you want to look into it, you can simply copy paste the previous code and check. See, the dash has gone by. Now I'll remove the NaN values as well. How do I do it? I'll simply do df is equal to df dot drop na subset. Based on what? If I simply do drop na bracket, it will drop out all the missing values from all different columns, right? But I want to drop out missing values from this particular column only, right? So I'll do subset is equal to innings dot num. Right. So let's see. Okay, what is it saying? Innings dot scored was passed, right? So what we'll do here is, so what is it saying? Whenever you get any errors, it's very important that you understand the error very properly. Errors can also help you in debugging it. What is it saying? Index must be called with a collection of some kind. Directly string was passed. So here collection means what? A data structure, a container. So what I'll do, I'll put something like this here, a list. Once I do this, it has worked. So now I'll do df dot df again. I'll copy paste the previous code to check whether we have missing value or not. So you can see here. But do you notice one more thing? Because of that string dash which we had before, all the data points which should be numerical in nature actually have been converted to string.